South End Tower Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra ready for departing straight out at runway 23. Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra cleared for takeoff runway 23 straight out departure approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 23 Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra.
For the sake of my stream, this is just a test to verify that I've got comms working okay, so I can now talk over the stream and talk over both streams. So I'm now going to try my other push to talk, and there's my other push to talk. Hopefully that will have come out as well. The next thing I transmit will be on the discrete one, so that shouldn't work. So that last one shouldn't have come out. The test 1, 2, 3, 4 should not have come out. Okay, I'm going to take off and see what the levels are like if I'm flying. It's all very quiet in the cockpit in this. Much louder on the outside. I think I need to desensitize the rudder. Bit of a leap off the ground there because I wasn't thinking. Raise the flaps. Do a circuit and make a landing.
South End Tower Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra for touch and go. Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra South End Tower. Fly left traffic runway 23. Altimeter 29.9 to wind 272 at tree. Fly left traffic runway 23 Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra. Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra clear touch and go left traffic runway 23. Wind 272 at tree. Cleared for touch and go runway 23 Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra.
Now at full flaps. This is a touch and go. That's quite gentle. Throttle up. Flaps up. Nice.
South End Tower, Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra, cancel landing intention. Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra, your cancellation is received.
So I need to set up some buttons to so that I don't have to keep going to the mouse to get to the ATC window. So now it's not giving me the option. It's not giving me the option for a touch and go. I'm guessing that in Target software that button that I'm using is mapped to something else, so I'll probably have to unmap that in Target. Simply because the window flashes when I'm doing it. Flaps first degree, first increment, next increment. Full flap. Touch and go again. Even though I haven't had the option to request that. Don't know why track IR keeps flipping out. Perhaps it's getting some sunlight from somewhere. I think it is actually. Yeah, it's all going a bit silly because there's a bit of sunlight squeaking its way through the past the side of the blind. Hear the tyre rumble. Throttle up, flaps up. Flaps back down for one division. Tyre rumble's gone. Do you want to try checking the stream? I think it should be okay. Ah, I see you're there. Okay, you're getting voice. I'm going to jump out the aircraft so that we can get a comparison of the sound. It's much louder when I'm outside. So hopefully the voice is still coming across on that. So here's another little test of the voice just to remind of how it's going, and I can check this myself a bit later on. So all my push to talks seem to be working. So this is to the stream, and this button is to both streams, and so is that one. So they should all be coming through. Okay, touch and go. It seemed quite smooth. Throttle up, flaps up all but one increment. Tyre rumble just went. Flaps up. Another circuit. Yep, thanks for checking that out, balance wise, that's nice to know. Is there any difference with the sound of the voice when I use this push to talk as opposed to this push to talk? Is there any difference? Yeah, when in the aircraft it's a lot quieter. As soon as you get out, I'll do it again. Crazy. I suppose it's because you're insulated by the cockpit, I guess, but that seems to be too much of a difference to me. I would have thought there should be more in cockpit engine sound. That might be a setting, but I don't think so. Okay, I'm going to do another touch and go. Flaps. First increment. Flaps. Next increment. Oh, pushed it the wrong way, put flaps up. Full flaps now. Should block out that little bit of sunlight that's squeaking in through past the blind. It's very easy to fly actually. Down, wheel rumble. If any viewer wants to come and have a go, they can. ATC window up and then hit that button, it's flashing. So I think that button is set up for something else in target. It's like a default setup, so I'll probably need to get rid of that because of that flashing.
But yeah, the in-cockpit noise is really quiet.
Yeah, it is very quiet.
Not talking about outside. Ignore that.
It's turning that switch on and off.
I'm lost.
It's doing funny things with that.
Yeah.
And it's because push to talk button is also doing that.
Right, okay, right.
If there's another viewer, give us a hi. Okay, so if we've got a viewer there at the moment, do you want to give me a hi just to verify that you're getting my voice okay? So I'm going to take off and do another touch and go. Okay, here we go. It's very quiet in the cockpit. If I jump out the cockpit, it's noisy. I've got my landing flaps down, so let's restore them to takeoff flaps. Right, let's take off flaps. Very quiet in the cockpit. I feel as though that's a wrong balance. There's too much difference. It might be that I have to change some settings still. As very often these things take lots of setting up before you get exactly what you want. Throttling up. Should pretty much lift off by itself. Not looking what I'm doing, I've missed the centre line. Wheel rumble's gone, took off by itself. I didn't move the stick, I did not rotate. Flaps back to normal. Flaps are raised to the circuit. This is at Southend, for anyone who doesn't know. And the trouble with tight banking turns is you can't see where you want to go. It now appears that there are no viewers at this time. I don't know how long it takes for the system to recognise that a viewer has left, so that could be Dan Eden left, but it didn't register for a while. Flaps down one division. Throttling back. This is so easy to fly. More flaps. And more. Hello, Evan. Yes, thanks. I'm working on Flight Simulator 2020 from Microsoft, um, and if we're going to be there for a while, I'll do a circuit and do a touch and go. I forgot I was in the air. I paused it. I forgot that I paused it when I was in the air. This is the Cessna 152 from Southend Airport, UK. Can you just verify for me that you're receiving voice comms from me? Just assuming you're still there, it might be showing a 1 viewer when you're not actually there. F104. I don't know it. I'm guessing it's a jet. This is really good, actually. This as a proper flight sim, everything works. Of course, it's a bit like FSX, which is the Microsoft Flight Simulator 10. Yeah, I thought it would be a jet. Yeah, so it's this is FS Flight Sim 2020, which is the next version, if you like, of the Microsoft Flight Sim. And it is very good. It takes a while to set various things up. For a while, well, for yesterday at least, I didn't have the ability for voice comms over the stream, so that was a bit frustrating. But I've now sorted that out in a different way to what I imagined, so that's all right. At the moment, the cockpit sounds are very quiet. The engine sound in the cockpit seems way too quiet for me. I don't think that's right. So it might just be settings that I can change. Flaps down. More flaps. Right, full flaps now. And this is exactly as it is in the Cessna 152. By the way, let me know if you're going to go, so that I don't end up talking myself for 5 minutes. Just tell me you're going. That's fine. Yeah. So this is a Cessna 152. Exactly. If you can fly this in this, you can probably fly it in reality. Okay. Thanks, Evan. Yeah, just let me know when you're going to go, because otherwise, because it takes a while to register that you've gone. So if you don't tell me you've gone, and 5 minutes later I suddenly realise I've been talking to myself. This is a touch and go, but you should hear the wheel rumbling on the runway, but I don't think you will. It's very quiet in cockpit. It's too quiet. Right, flaps up to 1. Throttle up, take off again. This aircraft is so easy to fly. So easy. And flaps fully up. We've obviously got, same as the other FS flight sim by Microsoft, you've got ATC that you can fully utilise. There's also multiplayer. There's no combat, so this is a flight sim rather than a flying combat game. It's a proper flight sim. I do need to sort out the volume levels though, because this is way too quiet. Yeah, I should be hearing it quite a lot in cockpit. I should be hearing the engine a lot, and this is barely audible. So I'll do another touch and go. It's all good practice. It's also very pleasant to do. The airfield or the airport here is reasonably close to reality, but not as close to reality as the one that I had before for FSX, which was very realistic. So it showed the flying club from which I did a couple of fun lessons. Here you can see the flying club because it's taken it from Google Earth, but of course it's 2D, it's just a flat look down on it, so you can't see it properly. Okay, Evan, you take care. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you again another time. TTFN. I've got a bit of light creeping in behind me to one side of the blind that's behind me. The sunlight is creeping in, so occasionally it flips my view around from track IR. Full flaps now. See, I can only just about hear the tyre rumble. Only just. This should be much more noticeable than that. Because in the actual aircraft, well, in the Cherokee that I had fun lessons in, it's much louder in the cockpit, and I'm sure it's similar to this. Much louder in the cockpit, and you do hear sort of a scree noise as the wheels come down and start turning with the rubber in contact with the tarmac. Okay, flaps up. Flaps left down 1 division, let's take off again. And the aircraft will basically take off by itself when you get to the right speed with one division of flaps, and it'll take off by itself. Flaps up. Let's go the other way. And this version hasn't yet been of Flight Sim 2020. It hasn't yet been updated in various ways, such as the QE2 bridge over the Thames is sort of there, but it's just a place marker really. It's not a representative of the bridge itself, whereas in the old one, the FSX, it is much closer. I'm not saying it's exact, but it's much closer. This is in here it's just a flat bridge that goes across the river, whereas in FSX it's more correctly a bridge that rises up over the river and it's suspended on cables. So that is much more accurate than this, but I'm no doubt they'll get to it. Also, looking down through that side window round about now in FSX, you'd see the Vulcan bomber that Southend Airport had sitting there. I don't know if they still have, but they did have at the time of the making of that version of the airport. But of course here it's not there. flaps again. Oh, I already had them down. I neglected to put them up. So that's first division of flaps. Another division. I keep hitting the button and sending them the wrong way. Another division. I'll go for a fast touch and go, so I'll keep my speed up, do a touch and go. Hope I don't just go too fast and stick it in the deck. So I wouldn't normally be doing it at this speed, so I'm throttling right up. But the flaps are keeping me from going much faster. They're acting like air brakes. There's wheel rumble there, tyre rumble. Right, let's and then I think I need to stop and be a little bit boring by checking my sounds and see if I can make it better. There's really not much noise coming from that. I'm looking at the meter on my OBS and there's really not much noise coming into the desktop from the engine whilst in cockpit, but if I jump out, that's more like what it should be when I'm actually in the cockpit. So that's got to be sorted. Don't know how I'll do that at the moment. Unless I just pull, I don't know which one I've got to pull back and then increase the overall volume. I don't know how to do that. In fact, no, even increasing the overall volume is not going to do it. Because it's pretty much there now. It's at 100% in the game, 100% on my voice meter mixer. So I don't quite know how I can increase that. Unless it's because I've got headphones on. In the game, I'm calling it a game, in the sim I mean. It might be that I've gone for having headphones on, which would obviously quieten everything down a lot. So I'll have to check that. I'm going to land this time because of that and see what I can find out. Flaps. I'll put 2 increments of flaps. I'll put the other one down. Full flaps now. I've made this landing in reality. Well, I didn't actually land it, but I got about 20 feet about over the runway at about this point before the instructor took control. I should also sort out that issue of the sunlight squeaking through the blind or past the blind, because it keeps flipping my track IR around. Right, so I'm going to take a look at my controls. It's not the controls I want, it's general. Headphone simulation. Let's put it back to default. I'm now going to try again and see what difference that makes. Now that's definitely better. Gonna take off. Oh, that's more like it. So this is much more like the way it should be sound wise. And it should just lift off by itself pretty much at about 55. There we are, all by itself. Took more speed, but it took off by itself. Go around the other direction. I'm going to risk getting up and putting something there to block out that sunlight. Hopefully it'll fly itself for a little while. That seems to have done it. It's just so easy to fly. I haven't got my PC chair restraint in. I'm not using my headphones because it's during the day, so I'm having it on speakers. It's so easy to fly. Quite fast, throttling back at least one degree division of flaps. More flap. And more flaps. I don't know how correctly I'm doing this, but if I crash I'm still alive, aren't I? I might do a touch and go. take off flaps. There we go. Flaps fully up now. I think I might fly to North Weald. Across the reservoir, and North Road's not too far beyond that. That's the reservoir. I assume it's showing on the house, I'm not sure if it is. Very stable, I'm not flying it, it's doing it itself. I've got to sort out, remove some mappings because when I use the other push to talk, it's turning off the power switch. So I've got to unmap that from the target software that is used by the Thrustmaster Warthog. EGJQ. I don't know if that's, I can't remember. No, I think it's EGGR. Oh no, GR might be standstill, or is that ST, EGST, YSL, GSS. EGSS might be standstill. EGGR might be it. This must be where the or Wickford. No, it wasn't Wickford. Of course, there are no markings on the map, on the VFR map on the top right. There's no markings to give me name places, just beacons perhaps, and airfields, airports. EGSG is Stansted. Not Stansted, Stapleford. The Stapleford doesn't look the way it should really, so I might as well go to North Weald. Essex. Oh, I really can't remember. Perhaps it's Essex. Either way, I can land here. Every now and again my zoom button stops working. I don't know why. I don't think it's the button itself. Well, I hope it's not the button itself. Depends on where it gets left by the mouse, I think. But it's just now working okay because I've zoomed out and I've made it come back to its normal position with a different button. It might be EGSX actually. I think EGSX must be North Weald, so I'm going to go there. In case you can see it, in case it means anything to anyone watching, that would be, if that's I keep saying Stansted, if that's Stapleford, then this red line here is the M25, the big ring road that goes around London. Now wherever I got left it last time, the zoom button isn't working again, so I've probably got to disable the mouse zooming. So there's a river in front of me, so I've got to cross the river and keep going. I can't actually see the airfield at the moment. I'm sure it will come into view. So that's the river that I have to cross. I'm still not seeing the airfield unless that's it. Difficult to say at the moment. I think that could be the wrong one. Not easy to see. I think it looks like North Wheel to me. It might be. Well, that certainly looks like a runway, so we'll have it. Throttle back and some flaps. Just one diffusion of flaps for a minute. And some more. And full flaps. So we're landing at GSX, but it's been a while. I can't remember whether that one is. Can't remember if that's North Wheel or not. Doesn't look like North Wheel to me. suppose I could do a touch and go and nip across to, ooh, that's a bit of a bumpy down there. Nip across to Stapleford. I can't remember what the codes are, I really can't remember if this is... this. Well, I suppose it could be a modern North Weald actually. I'm going to go across to Stapleford, which is pretty much in front of us. Sort of something's also taken my yoke away. So there's another mapping somewhere that's turning off my yoke, making it invisible. The version of Stapleford that I had in FSX when it was working, because it stopped working for some reason. When it was working, that was really nice. That was very representational of the actual Stapleford airfield. But there we are, Stapleford. Flaps. More flaps. Just using them a little bit as air brakes. Full flaps. Got some very distinctive trees, the real Stapleford, unless I've changed it all, but I don't think they have. Slightly bumpy landing again, not concentrating. I think I might go and take a look at Stapleford, see what it looks like. There should be a perimeter road that takes me round. think to the left there should be a couple of buildings like for choppers and various other bits and pieces, but it's just fields. There are some marks there. That could be that if I was to be flying, that's probably a look down view of what's actually, which of course it's in 2D, so you're not going to see what it really is unless you're in the air, and then you only see it looking down. Another building on our left we just went past. I am a bit fast taxiing, I guess. Let's get off the grass. And round about this area that we're approaching, there's normally things like fuel station and stuff like that. So this is sort of rough representation by comparison. Oh, hang on, I lost my bearings. That stuff on the left is where I think the choppers would have been, because there's another airfield, another runway to my right. Around about here on the right is where we would have seen fuel stop, etc., which isn't there here obviously. That parking area is, there's on the to the right of, as I look, there would have been a fuel stop there. That bit is sort of like it. That looks as though that might be a fuel, I don't know. Don't know if I can run over these blue lights or not. To our left, in theory there should be some tall slim trees. I don't know what they would be. Can't remember the name of them, but there should be some tall slim trees rather than these like little dumpy oak trees. Now just if my mouse is showing just there, and if not, to middle left of the picture, there's an outline of an aircraft. That's obviously where a picture has been taken by satellite, and there was an aircraft that just there at the time, and all we're seeing is 2D looking down. And of course it is about. So that is in fact an aircraft as seen from satellite pictures. I shut down. So I've still got some mapping to sort out. on the stick, so that these buttons at the front here don't do other things that I don't want them to do in from the target software that I use for this throttle. Still got to unmap some stuff so that it doesn't do things like turning off that switch. Get rid of the yoke again for a minute. That switch there gets turned off when I hit my push to talk button at the front. It's when you notice when I turn it off, the radios go off because it's power. So there's a number of things I need to do to prevent issues like that. When I'm in this, I mean, it's okay in other games because it's sorted, but in this particular one, I keep calling it a game. In this sim, it needs to be sorted so that I don't end up turning power off by using my push to talk. So it's got to unmap that particular thing. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you, viewer, for whoever you are, for being there and watching, and even though I suspect you're not able to put messages on, but thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again another time, I guess. So take care. TTFN.